What is going on, people? Triple M back again with another video after what feels like an eternity following the emphatic win against Arsenal Football Club and the win against Manchester City. I just felt so compelled to make a return to YouTube because honestly, it feels like a breath of fresh air. And I want to talk about yesterday's game, and I want to specifically start by talking about Michael Carrick and giving him credit for the way that he has set up this Manchester United team. And the reason why I want to start with Michael Carrick, because I feel like there's a lot of disingenuous energy and a lot of dishonest energy towards Michael Carrick at the moment, because this is a guy who, despite not being here for a long time, has actually had some good performances against some good managers. Let's not forget his first interim period where he beat Unai Emery's Villarreal, and he actually got a result against Arsenal the first time around. He also got a result against Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, and now he has outclassed Pep Guardiola and his disciple Mikel Arteta, which I think deserves a lot of credit. Now, it doesn't mean he's suddenly the best manager in the world and that we should give him a 3-year contract and that he's done everything he needs to convince us that he should be the candidate going forward. But it does mean that Manchester United fans have every right to be happy, because I tell you what, we have suffered over the last 14 months. And dare I say, we've suffered for longer than 14 months, because Amorim was so bad, he makes us forget how bad Ten Hag was. Ten Hag was horrible, but Amorim was so bad that Ten Hag almost doesn't feel like he was that bad. It's crazy how terrible the football has been. So I want to talk about Michael Carrick, man, because he set us up so well against Arsenal Football Club. The pressing, for me, is where I want to start, because a lot of people are saying, oh, Zubimendi made a mistake and Zubimendi this and Zubimendi that. But the only way you capitalize off of mistakes from teams playing out from the back is by pressing high up the pitch. And there's this misconception, I've heard it peddled by a few Arsenal fans, but even some Manchester United fans, that we just sat back. And I'm like, hello, our first goal literally came from us pressing high up the pitch and winning the ball and scoring a goal. Bryan Mbeumo doesn't get that goal if he's not pressing. Now, granted, it wasn't a full pitch press, but that's kind of the point. Because if we had pressed Arsenal the way we pressed Manchester City, or the way we've pressed under Ruben Amorim in the past, we would have gotten carved open. We would have gotten carved open because we don't have the back line to play a high line and a super high press. So the way Carrick set us up is the first line is going to press by themselves. The two wide players, because we defend in a 4-4-2, and the two front players are going to press. And even though there's a huge gap in the midfield, it doesn't matter because Arsenal are not going to do anything with that space anyways. And the way we retreated after our first line of the press got bypassed, for me, is just mwah. Excellent. Like, once you've been defeated, there's no need to fight. Concede defeat, get back into shape, and wait for Arsenal to either get a corner or give you back the ball. And then you go again. And we did that over and over and over for 90 minutes. It's so simple, yet so perfect. It worked to perfection against Arsenal Football Club. On top of that, our counter. Now, yesterday, I want to say that our counterattacks weren't as good as they were in the Man City game. And I think that's in part because Bruno's touch was off, especially in the first half. There were a lot of moments long before the Dorgu goal and long before the moments that we had in the second half where Bruno let us down in a big way. His first touch was off. He wasn't finding the right way to pass. Even Amad Diallo overhit or underhit quite a few passes in that first half. And it just felt like Manchester United were crumbling under the nerves and under the pressure of the occasion in those first 20 to 30 minutes. But after that, we started to settle and we started to get into the game, and our counterattacks were lethal. We made it very clear that this Arsenal team, the best team in the world, with the best young manager in the world, with the best this and the best that, the best centre-backs apparently, the best goalkeeper in the league apparently, we made it very clear that they're not all that. They can be got. We showed that Arsenal Football Club have vulnerabilities yesterday, and it wasn't just the counter-attack. Even when we were building out from the back, whether it was Lemens going long or us just playing out from the back and trying to draw Arsenal out, we had moments where we showed that we can actually play through Arsenal. There were moments where we were just playing through the triangles. I mean, if you look at Dorgu's goal in particular, a lot of people are saying, oh, individual brilliance this, individual brilliance that. But look at the build-up for Dorgu's goal. Look at how close Manchester United players are in the middle of the park and how much people are dropping into pockets of space and availing themselves and are offering support for their teammates. We didn't do that under Ten Hag, and we certainly didn't do that under Ruben Amorim. How many times did you see Casemiro on an island by himself in the middle of the park, or Mainu, or Bruno on an island by himself in the middle of the park with basically 6 or 5 Manchester United players running on the last line of the defense for the hoof ball or the long ball. It just felt so basic under the previous managers. And under Michael Carrick, for the first time, it feels like we actually have options. We actually have different things that we can do to break down teams. Now, granted, it is just 2 games. I'm totally aware of that. And we've still got tests coming up in the future. But so far, it is looking very promising. And on the individual performances, moving away from the tactics, Dorgu, well done. Well done. What a beautiful goal that was. Matheus Cunha as well. He is such a delight to watch when he comes off the bench. He was a delight against Manchester City, and he's been a delight again today. And even in the game, I can't remember if it was Wolves or Burnley, but I think it was Wolves where he came on and he got an assist and he saved us a point. And even against Burnley, I think he did get an assist, if my memory serves me correctly. Cunha has been good for a few games now, coming off the bench. And I like this Cunha. I like this version of Cunha who looks confident, who looks poised. This version of Cunha who, yes, yesterday he took a shot, but in general, he isn't as selfish. He knows now when to pass, and he knows now when to go for the shot. At first, Cunha was just shooting all the time. He was just being a player who looks like he's trying to do too much. But now, it seems like he's comfortable. He knows when to go for goal, when to play the simple pass, when to try go for the hero ball. He's showing variety to his game. He's showing the Cunha that we saw at Wolves, and I am here for it. I love it. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes as well, who I think started off very slow, but slowly started to settle into the game. And defensively, I think this is the best version of Bruno Fernandes we've seen in a while, because he's not running around like a headless chicken anymore. He's actually pressing with the team. And it's working because we've seen mistakes. Against Man City, we saw a lot of mistakes when we were pressing. And against Arsenal, obviously the big one with Mbeumo getting the chance. Diego Dalot, shout out to him because he didn't let us down. Now, I was mad at him in the first, I think, 15 minutes because I think he conceded a free kick. But after that, he was flawless. He was absolutely flawless. And even on the left-hand side with Luke Shaw and Dorgu double-teaming Saka, it was a masterclass. Saka couldn't do anything. And even later in the game when Madueke came on, he was useless. Now, to be fair, I don't think anybody was really scared of Madueke. And I think when Arsenal signed Madueke, I knew that they weren't really a serious football club because you're trying to win a league and Madueke is your solution. Madueke, I wonder what Martinelli feels like because I think that was the wrong sub by Mikel Arteta. Just by the way, as a United fan, I think that was a crazy substitution. Bringing on Madueke and displacing Saka, moving Saka to his weaker side to accommodate Noni Madueke, the guy who, when he finally does beat his man, gets tangled on his feet and gives it away for a goal kick anyways. He has no end product. Madueke has no end product, and I think it's evidenced by the fact that I don't think he scored in his last several appearances for Arsenal. I don't know if it's 7 games, 8 games, 9 games, possibly even 11. I can't remember what the stat is, but I think Madueke hasn't scored for a while for Arsenal in the Premier League, and that's true of all their attackers. They have been toothless from open play, and we shut them down. And I'm not having this nonsense that, Arsenal played poorly and they gave the game to Manchester United. No team. Before this game, we got told no team has won at the Emirates, and Arsenal had the best defense in the league. Arsenal had the best midfield in the league. When I saw combined 11s, I saw people actually putting Arsenal attackers ahead of Man United attackers who, on the main, have scored more than Arsenal from open play. But fair enough. Arsenal have been the better team this season. So Arsenal fans were putting, I think, like 9 or 10 combined 10 Arsenal players in combined 11s. I'm not having this nonsense that Arsenal were just a bad team and they were in bad form. No, before the game, we were told Manchester United have no chance. So I'm not having that. The reason why Manchester United won is because Manchester United were the better team. Full stop. It's not because Arsenal were rubbish or Arsenal did this or Arsenal. No, we were better. Full stop. End of discussion. End of story. And I think Arsenal, just on Arsenal, moving away from Manchester United, I think Arsenal are in a very precarious situation because that 4-point gap between Aston Villa and Man City, we've seen this movie before. 3 times to be precise. The Titanic is sinking. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below if you've made it this far in the video. I haven't been making content on YouTube for a while, and to be honest, it's been a combination of the fact that I've been busy and also just the fact that Manchester United have been crap. And it's made watching football in general, not just United, but watching other games in general, hasn't been as enjoyable because that terrorist was at my football club. And for the first time in a while, it feels like the shackles have been let loose. It feels like I can breathe for the first time in 14 months because my team actually excites me. And even if we had lost to Arsenal, I would still have the same energy. Even if we had lost to Man City, I would still have the same energy because the performances for me is what matters at the moment. The results obviously matter a lot, and I want us to get top four and get Champions League, but the performances tell me a lot about whether or not Carrick is the right guy. I don't think he should get the job yet, but if we get top four and continue to play the way that we are playing right now, I am not opposed to Michael Carrick getting the job because I think there is a lot of disrespect on Michael Carrick's name because he doesn't really have any experience at a big job. And the thing that pisses me off about this narrative is the fact that managers don't just gain experience from being successful at big clubs. A lot of managers gain experience from struggling at teams like Middlesbrough, at teams like Cardiff, at teams like, look at Cesc Fabregas with Como. I know that Como are doing really well and Cesc is performing miracles, but my point is managers gain experience from managing these small clubs and using them as stepping stones to get to big clubs. Like at the end of the day, whichever manager you think of that has been successful, at some point, someone had to take a chance on them. At some point, someone had to take a gamble and say, okay, we know this guy doesn't have experience, but we are going to give him a chance because of XYZ. We believe in his ability to be a good manager because of XYZ. And Michael Carrick, I feel like, is being slept on by a lot of Manchester United fans because of PTSD. There's no logic behind it. It is purely PTSD. We're afraid of repeating the same mistake that we did with Oli. And believe you me, I am afraid of that too. But I can't remember a 90 minutes under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, back-to-back 90 minutes under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where we thoroughly deserved to win beyond reasonable doubt. There were so many games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer where we won, we played well, but we didn't play well for the full 90 minutes. And we certainly didn't play well for even 60 or 70 minutes. There were a lot of performances under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer where we either started well and then trailed off and then came back in the second half, or we just started poorly and somehow rescued the game in the last half an hour. It doesn't feel like that with Michael Carrick. It doesn't feel like he's been bailed out by the players. It feels like he's setting us up correctly. And even his substitutions, even his game management, it feels proactive. It feels like he is in tune with what is happening in front of him. And I like that. I like that, especially after watching a manager who subs on centre-backs every time we need a goal. A manager who refuses to take off a centre-back and just put on an attacker and abandon the five at the back just for 30 minutes at the end of the game to see if we can score a goal. No, I'm going to bring on another centre-back, 4 centre-back. That's my grand solution to Manchester United conceding goals. It just feels different. Now, granted, we were creating chances under Ruben Amorim, but not like this, man. Not like this. Something about this feels different. And if anybody's going to call me out, just remember, I am one of the few Manchester United fans who didn't want Oli the first time. So I am aware of the mistakes we've made in the past. As someone who didn't want Oli, I feel like the comparisons to Oli, comparing Michael Carrick to Oli is lazy. I will say that. I feel like these comparisons are very lazy because I feel like Carrick is different. There is something different. But, it's only been 2 games, so who knows? Who knows, man?